And that was the amazing Tusekah. Welcome to the Blackhouse. You're on Wellington Access Radio, 106.1 FM. And we have in the studio today, we have the amazing Tusekah.
Thank you for having me.
Horns. Hey, I'm going to do a really quick intro for you because I think, you popped up in the scene and it's like you've just been ablaze. You've already been interviewed by New Zealand musician, New Tracks, RNZ, Women's Day, I didn't even know that was still around, Radioactive, RDU, Catalyst, 3 Radio 1 interviews, an OAR interview, Wandering Woman, and Escopia. And you've opened for Esther, Diva Mahal, PJ Morton and Maroki, toured with Oscar Liddell and had your own tour with your musical debut in 2021 with Childhood Friends, and it's only the start of 2024. Can you tell us who is the amazing Tusekah?
Yeah. So, I am a singer-songwriter. People say I fit into the R&B neo-soul genre. I'm a friend. I am an avid salsa dancer and kizomba dancer. That's all I am, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, that's who I am.
Well, tell us a little bit about your origin story and what initially motivated you to pursue a career in music. Let's just start about where you from, how'd you get here, what happened?
That's a long story, but I'll summarize it. So I'm South African originally. I was born in a small town called Keltonville, but I say that I'm from Durban in South Africa because that's where I spent most of my life. When I was 9, I moved to New Zealand for the first time. We moved to Greymouth. We lived there for 2 years and then went back to South Africa until 2014, which is a time of my life that I loved so much and I think was necessary. I moved back for a little bit. And then we moved back to New Zealand and then we spent most of our time in Dunedin from the time that we moved back. And then after that, I've lived in Christchurch for 2 years and I've just moved to Wellington after that. So
is this a permanent move to Wellington?
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, welcome to Wellington.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us, who are your biggest musical inspirations, both from South Africa and locally and internationally? Who's influenced your sound? Because I find it amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It'd be weird for me to not mention that I'm Zulu and then go into what inspires me musically. So I grew up just sort of singing all the time. So in South Africa, there's this joke that South Africans sing no matter what the occasion, whether it's the saddest thing ever or the happiest thing ever, you'll just catch us singing. Literally people will be writing on the streets but singing a song and dancing. It's crazy. But I'm so glad that I grew up with that influence. It taught me how to harmonize at such an early age. My mum would sit us down. There's videos, because I went through old videos recently of when I was a child. There's videos of my mum teaching us how to harmonize, and she's like, okay, so you go like this, because I have older brothers as well and younger sisters. But yeah, my mum is just an amazing sort of mother, but also she taught us how to harmonize at a really early age. And we sing together to this day. When I'm at home, we'll get together and pray at night and sing songs. So another factor to that is just going to church and singing church songs.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, so that's another layer to it. But also I grew up just listening to music on the streets. So if you know anything about Durban, there's these minibus taxis that just go on the streets and play music to the loudest level. My goodness me.
I think that's probably a common thing in Africa, because in Tanzania we have them as well.
They just play music so loud,
hanging in their back window.
Yeah, and so when I was younger and growing up, that influenced a lot of my music taste. But also South Africa really loves R&B and sort of hip hop, just American sort of music. And then I got into UK music when I was later on in life, and I'd moved to New Zealand. But yeah, that's all of those influences, just gospel, R&B, soul type music, but heavily South African, heavily South African, my goodness me. And then I discovered my own music. So when I was younger, a lot of my music taste was determined based on my older brothers, what they were listening to. So my older brother was listening to Usher and Kanye West, Mario, Chris Brown, sort of those artists. Whereas my mother was listening to like people like Shwina Mutukala, which I know the lyrics to one of his songs like to this day, and I learned it when I was like 5. Just like other South African artists, Hugh Masekela, Thandiswa Mazai. She recently just did like a tiny disc actually, which is so cool. But just all those like African artists, and then my brothers just bring in all the like sort of, I guess, hip music. I guess South African music was hip too, but when I was younger, I wasn't thinking of it as being hip. I'd be like, oh my goodness, this song again. But I really appreciate it nowadays, and I like will listen to it to feel nostalgia and just
I have a quick question, because you mentioned that your mother would, teach you how to harmonize, and obviously South Africa, the culture is big on singing and you're talented. When did you realize that you had this gift, that it was special, and you started investing time into it?
That's really interesting. I guess I never thought about it as being sort of a gift that I was like good at until other people started like telling me, because I just did it because I enjoyed it. And I saw that it was something that other people enjoyed as well. But for example, this is like something that's like, I think stunted. Stunted is a big word to use, but I think it stunted sort of, I don't know, the progress that I made in my music, because I didn't believe in myself for like a long time. My goodness me. I'd attribute to it to just like me not seeing maybe like someone like me sort of, I don't know, like just personally, just thinking, why would I make it in music? Like, why would I do music successfully? But also when I was younger and I'd sing around the house because it was my favorite thing to do, my brothers would be like, oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Until at some point they were like, oh my gosh, that's actually kind of good. But I think that stunted my growth as well, musically, which
Siblings,
is like, yeah. But also, it didn't stop me from singing, but then it just like, you need the confidence to actually like start pursuing it for real. But yeah, when I realised that maybe I'm still realising it, because for real, if you were to ask me if I think that I'm like good at what I do, I think I work really hard, and I think that, I don't know, I enjoy what I do, and those are the things that like drive me to like keep wanting to do this. But like, if you were to ask me if I'm good, I'd just, I'm even like uncomfortable with being described as sort of like, I don't know, a person who's, I don't know, doing well. Like, when did I discover that I was doing well? But I don't exactly know, but I guess you would say when other people sort of give you that affirmation that, oh my gosh, that's actually kind of sounding good. Because I think a lot of what music is as well is other people's ears, like just taking in what you're making or what you're sort of putting out into the world, and them appreciating it. Because I don't know, it's one thing to enjoy it yourself and to make it and to love it and to have goals to do with it, but if other people aren't sort of, I don't know, appreciating it, then it's like, oh, okay, well, this is just like knitting, I don't know. I don't know, it's just, a home activity, like a hobby, I don't know.
Well, your track record obviously shows that you're good, because you wouldn't have all these opportunities.
But I would attribute that to hard work. I would attribute that to me being good.
Oh no, I definitely would attribute it to you being good.
Yeah, the hard work is there, but
I think in New Zealand, like, we're a little bit slow on like really giving affirmation to people. That's that whole tall poppy thing.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah,
and so like like Baz had something you wanted to ask.
Oh no, I was just I've just noticed this like common pattern amongst South African artists in music. We were interviewing Warren a couple of weeks ago. He's a piano artist,
I know.
He mentioned how like his journey in music started with like the church, and you mentioned something similar. So
100%.
That's quite an interesting observation I'm making with like South
100%.
African.
I think South Africans. Oh, actually no. I'll let you finish the question, but I'm so excited about that question. But yeah, you can.
So that's my first one. Like, what influence has that played in your music? And the next one is, what actually makes you move to Wellington? Like, do you have like any big music projects that, or is it like musically? Was this move musically inclined, or was this something else?
Okay, so I'll answer your first question first. But South Africa is like, and I think the whole African diaspora just has like, actually I'll just focus on South Africa because that's what I know, but I think I've just noticed those vibes in the African diaspora. But like South African people are like hugely spiritual, like holy moly, like everything to them is about, I don't know, serving other people and just loving other people. And I think that comes from sort of our religious beliefs, also our cultural beliefs, but like I don't know any person in South Africa that is a friend of mine that is not sort of, I don't know, like that doesn't believe in sort of God and a higher power. Like you go to church every Sunday, like your parents are playing church music all Sunday long. You're just sort of raised in that way. I think in New Zealand it's not so much of a thing, but in South Africa like it hugely is. And I think that has its importance to sort of varying degrees in like different countries and in different cultures. But in South African culture, it's just such a huge thing. I've seen people on TikTok like comment on it and like commenting on their like sort of struggle culturally moving to countries where, I don't know, I guess spirituality isn't as valued. But I think it brings a lot of community and so yeah, and it brings a lot of musical talent out, my goodness me. But like my first songs that I ever got taught were just like sort of like church music, which was so cool. But the harmonies, my goodness me. But yeah, to this day, I think I do my best singing when I sing like a Zulu like church song, because I don't know, that's the songs that I've been singing the longest. So yeah. But I think as well, just like there's something that, I don't know, sounds really like soulful about church music, so I guess that has a huge influence on me as well. In terms of me moving to Wellington, I moved to Wellington for musical reasons, but also now I'm thinking that maybe Auckland is a better move musically.
Don't leave us.
I know that's what I'm struggling with.
Like Auckland's got no soul, but it's got all the business.
Yeah,
all the industry is in Auckland, and
talk about fashion, because Davian and I recently signed up with this modeling talent agency.
That's awesome. As you should.
My co-hosts are models.
As you should, honestly.
And interestingly, it's a black-owned.
That's awesome.
Talent agency. And like most of the stuff that I was looking up with modeling gigs, it's Auckland. And Wellington's such a vibe. Like, you know, people have such a great taste in fashion here, and versus Auckland, which is like super corporate, but everything is in Auckland.
Someone should do something about that, I reckon. Someone should like bring industry down here, like start something up.
Tuseka, you should.
I know, right?
We brought Warren, we bought Rua. Cuba Duper bought them. I just jumped on their ride. But yeah, no, you're right about Auckland. Auckland, I think, reminds me a lot of Sydney, whereas Wellington reminds me more of Melbourne.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And Melbourne's like the artistic centre of Oz, so
But you know, Melbourne's got more population now than Sydney.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
It's Melbourne's population is the whole population of New Zealand.
Right, 5 million, yeah. It's overtaken Sydney, wow.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Quite recently.
What's the population of Sydney?
I think it's like close to 5, but like Melbourne, I'm not entirely sure, but I recently read like somewhere that Melbourne's taken over Sydney in the highest number of people living in Australia.
It's definitely the only place in Australia you can go, and they've got an entire suburb of just black businesses.
Yes, Footscray. Yes.
Like that's the only place in Australia, and it was the first time I'd ever seen it in New Zealand or Australia.
That's
so that really blew me away.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can live here and love this place. I'm just going from one place to the next, and I'll get everything I need. Yeah, but you don't see it anywhere else. You know,
So true.
you got forget about Australia. I wanted to ask you about what the culture shock was like moving from South Africa to Greymouth. Like, I can't even move from the North Island to the South Island. So like, I'm having, we've had this entrenched fear about moving, like the South Island. No. No, I cannot do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and like I think my generation kind of looks at you know, like when Africans started moving in here and moving to New Zealand in larger numbers, and they were moving, we're like, why are they putting them in the South Island? Like, why? You know? So, like, what was that like for you?
Before you answer that, can you tell me where Greymouth is? Because I have no idea.
Okay, so Greymouth is on the west coast of the South Island. It's like 2 hours and maybe 40 minutes from Christchurch, like straight across. Not like straight across, but there's you just drive across the South Island, and then you end up in Greymouth. And it rains a lot there, and it's quite beautiful from what I remember. At least the beaches are, but nothing happens. The culture shock was insane. My goodness me, whoa. So if you know anything about Durban, and I say that I'm from South Beach, I told like another African artist this, DJ Massimo, because we're both from Durban. He lives in Auckland. He's amazing. If you guys don't know about him already, which I'm sure you do, but he's from Durban as well. And then he was asking where I'm from, and then I was like, oh, I'm from South Beach, and he was like, oh my goodness, that's the hood. And I was like, yeah, that is the hood. But so I grew up in the hood in Durban, which is like so like vibrant and just sort of dangerous if you don't know where you're going. I just remember just loving my childhood, just playing and just singing and just dancing and just being filled with so much sort of culture around me and so much vibrancy. Like anywhere I went, like from really early hours of the morning to like super late, like it's just always noisy, you know? And if it's like 3 a.m, like then you're not on the street because what are you doing? Yeah, that's dangerous. But yeah, and then we moved to Greymouth, whereby it's always quiet, not much vibrancy. Like the most vibrancy I remember having while living in Greymouth was we had like a kapahaka sort of festival, the West Coast, like all the like primary schools like got together. And I think I think that happens all the time anyway. But yeah, we got together and like there was just like a kapahaka festival, and I remember learning like such incredible Māori songs, and like that was the most culture that I experienced while living in Greymouth. The people were really, really friendly, but nothing happened, and like it wasn't South Africa, and I was forgetting Zulu, and like my brothers were as well, and my mother was like, this is not it. And my brothers were misbehaving. They were like at teenager age, whereby you misbehave and just like you misbehave, and especially if you had nothing to do, like it's Greymouth. And then she was like, well, you're going to go back to South Africa, like all of us are going back to South Africa to just sort of remember who we are, because at the moment we do not know who we are. So we went back, and
Greymouth did that.
No, Greymouth really did that. But I think it was so important because
who am I? Where am I?
No, but it was so culture shocking, and I think it was because of the ages we were as well. It was just like, oh my goodness. But we went back, and in that process, but like in that process, it was really good because I learned how to read Zulu, I learned how to write Zulu, I learned more complex Zulu, and I remembered Zulu that like I had previously forgotten. I fell more in love with what being a South African is, with what being black is, because when I was in Greymouth, I was like, why is my hair not straight? Like, why? Like, all these things. Like, you question yourself just because you're, like, different and you're young. So, like, it's
why do I want to play loud music in my car?
Why does my food smell when I have lunch and, like, other kids, like, food does not smell? Do you get what I mean? Just, like, the African food sort of aspect as well. But yeah, we moved back to South Africa, oh my goodness, best couple of years, or like, I shouldn't say couple, I should say few. I recently learned that there's a big difference. But yeah, few years of living in South Africa was, so good. I had the best, like I made so many memories in South Africa during that period. And
it's not a cheap trip to make.
It's not, it's
like,
not.
Mom
sold everything.
Your story reminds me a little bit of how I felt after I left from Taranaki and I went to Africa.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Taranaki and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
The good thing about going home as well is that people, when you move overseas, I don't know whether it's the same case in Tanzania, but if you move away from home in South Africa and you go overseas, they think you suddenly have like this huge amount of money, which is not the case. And so when you go back to visit, it's like you have to bring some sort of wealth with you, like to give back, you know, because like otherwise why did you leave? Because you could have been poor in South Africa. Why are you in New Zealand and poor, you know? That's
it's a pressure, you know.
And you mentioned Dunedin as well, which I find fascinating because you're talking to two people who lived in Dunedin as well.
Wow. Yeah. What was your experience of it?
Oh, look, as a black person in Dunedin, I definitely feel like I stood out.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like from Greymouth to Dunedin must have been a diverse metropolis.
Oh, 100%. Especially with the uni.
The uni makes it better, but we were there during COVID years, so most of the international students were away, but it was still not as bad. You could still find like a few faces, but
that's awesome.
It was interesting because I would find like one person of color and I was like, oh, that guy.
It definitely is like that. Yeah. That's so funny.
I always stop people at the grocery store. They would get upset. I'd be like, where are you from? What country?
They would get upset?
Some people would. They'd be like, I'm just really trying to buy my frozen broccoli, man. And I'm like, but I want to know because like I may not see another black person all day today.
And I've also got to let you know too, Tuseka, I think all three of us have transitioned to being South African.
We identify as South African.
We identify as South African.
How come?
Yeah, I'm no longer Nigerian, Persian, American. I am South African.
Okay.
I just realized that I transitioned to South African, but cool, I've transitioned to South African.
I woke up like this.
And the only reason I say it is that, you know, New Zealanders had a habit for many, many years of saying, I'd say that asked me like, where are you from? And I'm like, well, are you asking me why I'm brown? And I go, yeah. I'm like, well, my mum's Kiwi and my dad's Tanzanian. Oh, is that in South Africa? No, Tanzania is in East Africa. Oh, is East Africa in South Africa? You know?
Yeah.
So I figure I've been South African for a while. And I'm just reclaiming it, you know?
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump into like your education because you were setting up to become a doctor.
Yeah.
And you switched to audiology. You're doing your thesis.
I am doing my thesis.
And I wanted to know, like, how are you finding the balance between music and doing your masters?
It is one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I've said that so many times now, but it's really funny because in the music industry, like anytime I talk to someone in the music industry, apparently there's a rep of me doing my thesis so I can't do stuff at the moment, which is so fair. Like it's like a personality trait at this point. But then the thing is, like, music is the thing that I love doing, and so it's like if I don't do it, then I'm miserable. And then audiology is the thing that I have to do, which sounds bad because it sounds like I don't want to be an audiologist. And I do, but I don't love it as much as music.
So it's your career, really?
It's my career, yeah. That's the thing that I'm, like, concerned about as well, you know, like, because then...
Because that's a very common thing, eh?
100%.
African parents want you to be like a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, you know, really high... stable income stuff.
100%. And that's something I take seriously, and it's something that I pursued from like a very young age because I realized that when you told people that you wanted to be a doctor or sort of do something academic, people would have a good reaction to it. Whereas there's literally like storylines and like the shows and the movies that I watch where someone was like sort of ostracized from their family because they were doing something artistic. Like, my goodness me, that's so crazy. But I just grew up sort of not associating sort of something artsy or creative as being sort of a viable career choice for me. And so that was really hard. But like literally, I don't know why, but I remember, like, it's like maybe my first memory that I have, but I just remember being like, wow, I could be a singer. Like, I want to be a singer when I was like super, super young. And I never sort of like verbalized it to anyone because I was like, I don't want to like cause drama or just like, I don't know, be sort of targeted to, I don't know, be like, like, don't do that. Like, that's not a viable career choice. And then I just kept it to myself, but also just sung whenever I wanted to, just like wrote music whenever I wanted to, which was like most of the time, my goodness me. And then I went through high school and I was like the super musical but also super academic student. yeah, like that sort of was my identity weirdly. And then, yeah, I ended up going down the academic path. I got a like full scholarship to do like my degree in Otago, which was awesome. And yeah, it was full looking scholarship. Like, yeah. Wow. So like a $40,000 like 3-year scholarship. And then I did like my biochemistry and microbiology degree. I actually got ducks in high school as well. I tend to not bring that up, but since we're bringing up like academics and like sort of music, how that ties in together, and that's one of the reasons I think I would have gotten the scholarship. But yeah, and so I went through university. I did my first year of uni, which would have been health sci first year. And then I didn't get good enough grades to go through to medicine, but I was like, I'll just do a degree and then like apply again. And then what had happened was I did biochemistry and microbiology. I was like good at it. I don't know. I was good at it, but I was like miserable. Like I was getting A's, but I was miserable. My goodness me. And then at the end of that degree, I applied again and I got onto the waiting list. And then at the end of the waiting list, I didn't get in. And then I was like, well, that's a sign. I'm miserable, first of all. But also, like, if I continue down this path, I'm only ever going to get more miserable. Like, it's not going to get better for me. And medicine is a career path whereby you sort of just, like, keep working at it. Like, you just always are learning. You're giving to other people.
But so your path with music, how and your career, well, your academic path, how supportive was your family? And that's not just your nuclear family, but your extended family as well. How supportive are they around your music career or pathway that you're taking at the moment? And are they worried about you know, like not completing this thing? You got to complete this thing, and you know, like how is that working out?
Like within everyone I consider family, there's this mixture of like the group of people that are like, oh my goodness, this is so great, why don't you just do music, like it's the thing that you love, like you'll be fine. And then there's a mixture of people that are like, oh, do audiology first and like focus on that, and then once you're done with it, then you can like go down the music path, you know, which are completely two completely valid sort of things that can go on. I think people that I consider family realize that I'm the happiest that I've ever been, like down this pursuit of sort of, I don't know, music, and I feel the most truest to myself that I've ever been. And I think they realize, oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome. My goodness me, it's so awesome. But I think at the same time, knowing that this is the happiest I've ever been and not committing to it fully is like, it's putting me in like a weird mental state where I'm like, I feel there's this like term for it whereby you know one thing but you continue to do the other thing. Cognitive dissonance is the word for it. I know that music is the thing that I want to do, but like I'm not doing it fully yet. But I know that it would make me the happiest if I did. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. So that brings me to the question I really wanted to ask you, because you know I wanted to ask you about your Instagram duet season. I trolled your page for research, and I saw the duets, and I saw your pitch to PJ Morton, which was brilliant.
Thank you.
And I think so brave of you to, like, it's sort of like something that I thought, wow, that's something I would really like to do, but I'd never have the balls to do it, you know what I mean? And I'd like you to tell us more about how they all came about, and will you keep doing them? Because I think they're great.
Oh, thank you so much. It's weird because I'm at a weird point in sort of my thought process to do with content, because I would consider that content. But I'm like, should I show people like a lot about what's going on musically, or should I don't know, only show up when it's time to release a song, you know? Because it's like, I don't know, there's this like weird movement whereby people are being like, why are musicians being content creators? We're just meant to make the music. And then there's other people who are just like, well, we're meant to make the music, but also the content is like really important. But I think I will continue to make them because I don't know, it's something that's enjoyable for people to watch.
Absolutely. Like if you haven't seen her Instagram duets, just go onto her Instagram page, and they're amazing. They're actually and her pitch. She did a pitch to PJ Morton video.
Thank you.
Which was really great. Like, we want to get to what it was like. What was it like touring with PJ Morton?
PJ Morton.
Were you open for him, or you toured with him?
I opened. Well, I guess it's both, because I did his New Zealand tour with him. But it was 2 shows, and it was some of the like best shows that I've done, sort of feeling wise, if that makes any sense. Like I just felt euphoric. Like it was incredible. I was like, why am I opening for PJ Morton? Like this is literally.
Well, you asked for it.
Well, true. That's so true. But like it's like I always do like apply to do stuff or like sort of try to achieve something even without the expectation that it's going to work out. So when things actually do work out, I'm always like, oh my goodness, like why am I here? That's so crazy. But yeah, I think maybe it's something that I need to stop doing in that way, because I think I enjoyed it less because I felt like I shouldn't have been there, which is so crazy. Like I'm looking back at like the first conversation we had, and I'm like, oh my goodness me, like you cut that so short because you felt like you didn't deserve to be in that room. Like what? Why did you do that? But yeah, I think it's something that I struggle with, just like not believing myself enough, but also I believe myself enough to try. Like it's what I was saying, like it's like the work ethic, but like inherently I'm like, why is this happening? Like lots of imposter syndrome, but it was so great, and I'm so glad that I was given the opportunity to do that. Incredible. He was so nice. His team was like super lovely as well, and I would have been there anyway because I love his music. I literally look up to him so much, and so it was great to see it twice instead of once, because I did both shows. But yeah,
Davian's our manifesting maestro. He manifests so many things.
That's awesome.
You know, like what's your opinion of how she manifested that to happen?
I think it's amazing because, I mean, I definitely vibe with you on the whole imposter syndrome. I deal with that myself, but I think for me, I just have to remind myself that I deserve it. And when those things happen, be grateful, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Life can be beautiful, life can suck, so I'm going to lean into that beauty and appreciate it. I think that's so amazing because you went for it and you got it. And you seem like such a self-aware person. Like in hindsight, you're looking back and you're like, oh, I could have enjoyed it more. That's so amazing. Because like then when it happens again, because it's just the beginning, you're going to be right there enjoying it. And we're going to go back to this record of us having this interview.
Have a moment.
So true.
I'll put in some rainbow lights in the editing. You got something you want to say?
I have a quick question. So slightly unrelated to this conversation, but something that you said previously about having a strong voice, which is great. Like I've not explored all of your music, but I've checked out a few tracks, and I agree with Davian and Leah that you have an amazing voice.
Thank you so much. And
it's like really strong, and I find a lot of passion and like empowerment in, especially I'm not African myself, but like I look up to this community and find a lot of empowerment as a person of color looking at musicians and artists such as yourself. But at the same time, like I noticed that you were not fully, I'm not sure, like were you like when these guys said that you have a strong voice, you were like, oh, maybe like I should do something else.
Yeah.
What made you say that? What is the reason behind why?
It's because I don't view my voice as strong. Like I feel like it's weird. I don't view my voice as strong. I just sing and then people perceive it the way they perceive it. But I'm really shy about my voice. I don't think I have the best voice at all. I think my superpower is my songwriting, and like that's probably the thing that I enjoy more than like sort of just singing the words. I love performing, but like singing like gets me in my brain because I'm like, ooh, why did I sing it like that? You know, I don't know. But also I think I'm just surrounded by such amazing artists and look up to such like talented artists that I'm like, their voices are amazing. And like comparison is the thief of happiness. I know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but like for some reason I do that with my voice, which doesn't make any sense because my voice is my voice and their voices are their voices. But I don't think I have the most polished voice ever, and so that's one of the reasons why I maybe wouldn't describe my voice as being powerful. But why
that's probably what makes it powerful, raw and authentic.
True. Wow, thank you. But yeah, I want to.
Let's just have a consensus here. She's got a powerful voice, right?
100%. It's talent. It's talent.
It's an amazing, powerful voice.
Yeah. But in terms of like exploring sort of a different thing, I really want to bring out sort of more like raw aspects of my voice, like how I sound when I'm just like sort of writing, like in the process of writing the song, and how I sound when I'm like in my room rehearsing instead of and like on the stage and in my brain, you know. That's the type of voice that I want to bring out. and sort of upcoming releases, and in sort of upcoming shows. But yeah, I think I just need to not think too much about performances, because I think the self-doubt is what makes my voice not sound as good as I think I sound when I'm like by myself.
So that whole thing of feeling comfortable in your own skin,
100%.
and even when you're in that sort of, what I'm hearing is you're coming to a place of feeling comfortable in your own skin, but you kind of got the outer skin sort of like halfway up. You haven't got it all up and zipped up, the hood 100%. Up, you know, then the buckles on and whatnot. You're getting there. You're getting 100%. There, and it probably, and I think with the meteoric, because looking at what's happened to you since your first release in 2021, it's just been meteoric. How it's moved. It's moved quite rapidly.
Thank you.
And maybe, like, I'm hearing that this rise to the attention that you've got right now, you're still catching up with that. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm hearing. And that once you've sort of caught and you're feeling comfortable, it'll just sit well. Yeah. You know, like eventually I just had to accept I had grey hair. You know, like, and then, you know, once you do, you just ride with it. You know what I mean? But I wanted to ask you about. I'm gonna come down here because we only got about 14 minutes left. I wanted to ask you about, like, what can we expect from you in terms of upcoming projects or future collaborations, both musically and professionally?
Okay.
And I put in Audiology at the end of that sentence, but I don't know why. So that wasn't supposed to be there. Musically and professionally in music, not in Audiology. But like, if you can put music into Audiology too, I'm cool with that.
Probably not gonna mix the two, maybe ever. But musically, I'm so excited for the upcoming year of releases. My goodness me.
Who are you working with?
so excited.
Are you allowed to say who you're working with?
I am allowed, I think. I haven't checked, but what's the worries with just spilling who I'm working with? But so I just got New Zealand On Air funding for a single called Baby's Breath. And currently I'm doing my thesis, so I haven't really been focusing on releasing the single and the visuals and sorting out a team for that, where the funding is going to go, which is so sad because that's the thing I want to do. But instead I'm just writing the thesis. I just need to get it done, honestly, because it's just it's taking away from time that I could be spending towards music. But so I have a single called Baby's Breath that is going to be coming out very soon, and this an amazing appearance is going to appear in the visuals, so please be ready for that. And the visuals are going to look sick, the mood board is looking so sick, and I'm working with amazing people to sort of make that happen. Still recruiting people, but the people that I have on board at the moment, amazing. And then I have a bunch of other singles coming up after that. I'm in the process of deciding whether I want to make it singles or just put it into a body of work. I have a single in the works with Induna.
Yes, that's our boy.
He's amazing. He produced a song of mine called Same Time, and that is amazing. I'm currently thinking of making that song a release, but also a feature to be featured on that. I won't sort of spill who that's going to be, but it's a really exciting feature. I'm also working with DJ Massimo on an Amapiano track for his upcoming album. And that song is maybe I should say one of the most exciting songs that I've worked on, just because it's so true to who I am, inherently as a person, to my core since I was a young kid. It's amazing to be involved in music that is South African, but also it's going to be a Zulu song, which is but also it's so good. I literally will listen to the song in my free time, and if you know me, you know that I don't tend to listen to my songs unless I'm oh my gosh, this is a good song. So that's an amazing song. So I'm really thankful that sort of DJ Massimo and Warren Duncan is actually on the song as well. Asked me to work on that. Really excited. And then otherwise,
shout out Warren. Shout out Warren and shout out Massimo.
Shout out.
And Induna.
And Induna. And so I'm really excited that sort of all these collaborations are coming out, but also I think this year is going to be the year where I release sort of I don't know, emo, more emo sounding music. With amongst the sort of I don't know, typical Tuseka that you see that's sort of like vibey and you're dancing, or you're just chilling. There's going to be more sort of like heartfelt songs. And I wouldn't call them ballads, but I would call them more R&B than I've ever been, maybe.
Yeah.
More stripped back than I've ever been.
So I just wanted to ask you something. What would be your top 3 collabs, locally or internationally, of all time that you'd want to do? Just put it out there, because I've noticed that when you put something out there, it happens. So like let's like put it out there. Let's manifest some stuff in our.
That's really interesting.
We're going to do some manifesting right now. I'll put all rainbow lights in it later on.
Wow.
Say Brenda Boy so I can meet him through you.
Yes, yeah. Can you say Brenda Boy?
Okay, because you asked me nicely.
Auntie wants to meet Brenda Boy.
Brenda Boy would be amazing to work with.
Oh yes. What else can Tuseka say that will make happen?
No, but the thing is, I genuinely believe that if you say you're going to do something or you want to do something and you try your best to make it happen, that's the best thing you can do. And then it's like, it could happen because you made it happen, if that makes any sense. But if you are like, oh, I hope one day I work with Burna Boy, and you don't do anything about it whatsoever, like you don't release any more music, you don't like try to make any connections with Burna Boy, then it's not gonna happen. But I say Burna Boy because you were like, oh my gosh, say Burna Boy. But like, because now I've said Burna Boy, now I'm gonna try work with Burna Boy somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Manifest it for you.
Yeah. No, but he's an amazing artist, and I listen to so much of his music. Holy moly! Like, did you see the performance he did at the Grammys?
I seen parts of it. I've caught parts of it.
It's insane. People were saying that it was like the best Grammys performance of the night.
Wow.
And
He's
he
got
did so
such a personality. Like I saw his interview with Trevor Noah.
yeah.
He's so good.
So
And I
so good.
literally thought he was a lot older than he actually was.
He's 31.
How old is he? I actually don't know.
He's in his early 30s.
31 or 32.
I thought he was like he's got an older face.
He does.
And so I felt incredibly sort of like weird.
And demeanor. He has the older demeanor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very
You know?
Yeah.
He's got that rugged look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But that's his vibe though. That's such like he just like takes that Nigerian and like he puts it out there. He's like, I'm
That's
Nigerian.
true. That's
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
So who would be your number 2 collab of all time then?
Number 2 collab. My goodness me. It's weird because when you said it like that, for some reason, I was like, oh, let me not say like legends, because you were like people that you would like want to work with and like.
Yeah,
I mean,
go for the legends. Which are the legends?
Shoot for the stars.
That's so hard.
Yeah, we're all living vicariously through you at this point.
We know it's gonna happen, so I'm like, big.
Okay, so this is gonna be like maybe left field because it's like, oh my gosh, maybe you don't know this artist, but I love Cleo Soul. Cleo Soul is I know, she's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
She's amazing. I would either want to write for her or sort of just like work alongside her. She's just like this amazing like neo soul R&B artist from the UK. She's so insane. But yeah, to work with her, oh my gosh, amazing. It's weird because I could say literally so many people. But
Say one more. Say one more.
Yeah. I'm gonna say one more. Okay. And another artist that I would maybe want to like write for.
Yeah, this is
like,
just manifesting
like,
it for you.
Daniel Caesar would be.
Oh, come on now.
Even though,
Cleo Soul and Daniel Caesar.
I know, even though he was cancelled for a little bit, but I think his music is like amazing. And yeah, he's so talented. He writes incredibly. Holy moly. But yeah, Daniel Caesar and Cleo Soul, I like the vibe, I think.
Ooh.
There's so many other artists, but like at the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, those are the 2. And Burna Boy, because Burna Boy is amazing. Did you see his Coachella performance? Can you tell that I'm obsessed with performances are just, yeah. But his Coachella performance was amazing.
I'm going to have to catch up on a lot of those. I saw bits and pieces on Instagram, I
So good.
of it, and like people going, oh wow, you know.
He's so incredible.
Yeah, I haven't looked it up. Have you looked it up?
No, I've not watched videos, but like I know whenever like City Boys plays, like I just look at Davian and I'm like, yeah.
That's the vibe how it comes on.
Okay, so we're coming up to our last 6 minutes. I really want to ask you, what's your advice to any young African musician in New Zealand or artist in New Zealand or anyone from the Black diaspora in New Zealand? What would be your advice that you give them if they were thinking about taking up a career in music in New Zealand?
So this is actually really topical because I'm going onto another podcast tomorrow, and they're gonna ask me sort of questions within the sort of I don't know, the bubble of dreaming and sort of dreams and making dreams and setting goals.
And you're really good at making dreams happen.
Thank you so much.
Like you are.
Thank you so much.
Bring up a collab.
I believe. But yeah, I think what I've sort of, I don't know, organized my thought process into being is that there's sort of 3 things that I've identified as being important to like people that are sort of making it in the music industry that I know, or like just people that I've analyzed, because I'll listen to podcasts all the time where musicians will talk about how they came up or sort of what went into like creating a body of work, you know?
Yeah.
So 3 things. Confidence. So it's weird because I don't have this, but I'll name all 3 and then I'll like sort of, I don't know, say why they're all important. Confidence. But also being driven, and then also there's a 3rd one: confidence, being driven, and then I believe it's being resilient. No, but I think that's like alongside the resilience one. But yeah, being driven, resilience, and confidence. If you have the resilience, then if something happens that doesn't go your way, then you'll be able to like keep going.
Yeah.
If you have the confidence, then you will be able to like believe in yourself enough to sort of be driven, you know. And if you have the drive, even when you don't have the confidence, and even when you're sort of, I don't know, not feeling resilient. This is why I think the resilience and drive one fall into the same category. But if you lack sort of anything, sort of things are not going your way, and you have the drive, then you'll always just sort of I don't know, like be able to get through what you're going through because you have sort of
the passion,
the drive to like do it. Even when you like sort of don't believe in yourself enough, you know that like you want this thing, you know. And I think I attribute it a lot to myself, you know, because I don't know, I don't feel like I'm the most confident person, but I feel like I'm really driven because I know what I want, so I like strive to get it. And then I think I would be more driven if I had the confidence, and so I would like encourage people to have the confidence, because I don't know, I feel like we've gone through a lot as like black people in general, as like the African diasporic people in general, and sometimes it's hard to sort of believe in yourself while knowing sort of everything that we've gone through, and maybe knowing that you have to work harder than other people to get where they are.
Pay the black tax.
But like without that, then like why have your like sort of ancestry like done so much to sort of get you where you are, you know?
And I think like, you know, your background of spirituality and stuff is also very supportive to that too.
100%.
I think in a country like New Zealand where like a lot of us leave that sort of environment, the spirituality. So a lot of people keep it, but a lot of us like
100%.
are like just walk away from it because of the environment that we're in. You know, you have to find that resilience that sometimes I think spirituality is gives you that resilience, you know. I don't see myself as Christian or Muslim, even though I've been both. But I don't see myself as that anymore. But I do think spirituality is important.
100%.
I just want to say, we're coming up to our last couple of minutes. I just want to say to you, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
I really wanted to play more music, but of yours, but we can get that featured on a Friday feature with Johnny over here, and. I'm looking forward to hearing more music from you. Thank you. Just throwing your all into it, because I think that what I'm hearing is amazing. If you ever feel like doing disco, hit me up, because I'll tell you if it's real disco or not. Just for those other people who didn't live through the scene.
I just want to say thank you for coming. It's so beautiful to hear your experience, and it inspires me and it gives me confidence, because you're so talented and you work really hard, and that makes me look inside of myself and say, you know what, it's okay to be confident. Look at that.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, definitely. Anything from you, Baz?
Oh yeah, thanks to Tuseka, and I really hope that you collab with Burna Boy.
I hope so too.
And please remember me so I can probably get into like the VIP space with you.
Yeah, don't forget us. Don't forget us.
Surely.
Don't forget us.
You're the first people I will think of.
Yeah.
Hey guys, that's us. We'll see you on the Blackhouse next week. Have a great weekend.